Hello and welcome to Rotted Reviews, and today I'm tackling a Rotted request where I hand the keys to the channel over to my patrons and have them pick out what they want me to watch and review. And today's request comes from patron Jackie, who last month requested the 1958 movie How to Make a Monster, and this month she's requesting How to Make a Monster. This time it's the 2001 version, which has absolutely nothing at all to do with the original 1958 version. It's just sharing a title. But that was kind of the nature of why the request was made, was, hey, give it a shot. Same title, different movie, okay. And it was funny because shortly after I got this request, I got a private message from Jackie that just said, I just watched the movie and ugh, I'm sorry. So it sounds like we're off to a rip-roaring start with this one. This was actually a little bit difficult to find. I couldn't find anybody streaming it, so I did have to go out and snag myself a DVD copy. So far as I know, that's the only source that's currently available for this guy. But I did watch it, and I got some thoughts. Before I get into those thoughts, though, I am going to shill the channel just a little bit here and just ask you, if you have been enjoying the content, you've been liking what I've been putting out, please help support me. Click like, click subscribe, that helps out a whole lot. And if you really want to support keeping this channel going and keeping these videos being made, consider possibly just tossing me a couple bucks with a super thanks, or consider joining the Patreon. We have some great stuff there. Lowest tier starts at only $1 a month. We have Discord benefits, watch parties, weekly vlogs, and a whole lot more. So thank you very much for the consideration. Let's get into this review. All right, 2001's How to Make a Monster. Written and directed by George Wong, this is a movie that I actually had a little bit of hope for, mostly because I noticed that it was co-produced by Stan Winston. And I thought at the very least it would be at least a visual spectacle. So, what's this movie about? We have a video game that's being designed and is in the final stages before the release date is looming. And unfortunately, it's a giant turd. Everything about it is horrible. The play testers are, the kids that are play testing it are laughing at the monster that's there. So they decide to just fire everybody, all the programmers, all the developers, and start fresh with just 3 programmers, each one with their own specialties, and for some reason, none of it is involving any kind of real programming. One is with weapons, one is with AI, and another one is with sound design, and apparently that's going to go ahead and fill in the gaps and save this title. And to throw in a little bit of competition to get this done on time, they basically said, whoever has the most contributing factor in the playtest results, whoever's work shines the most at the end of this, if it gets done in time, will get a bonus of $1 million. So gates fly open, they start out, and it's basically everybody for themselves as they try to complete this project while also sabotaging each other. And things go awry during an electrical storm, which causes the AI to freak out and take control of the motion capture robot bodysuit, and mayhem and havoc ensue from there. This was this was something. I gotta admit, 10 minutes into this movie, I really, really wanted to hate it. And by the time it was done, I kind of hated myself for liking it as much as I did. That's not to say that I thought that it was a great movie. This was not a great or even a good movie. But I do think that it was actually a pretty good, bad movie. So I'm going to go ahead and just spoil that a little bit early there and give this my good, bad movie seal of approval. I don't know how to best describe this. It really, Jackie kind of mentioned that somebody described it as a Disney Channel, an R-rated Disney Channel movie, and I really did kind of get those vibes throughout. Just the interactions that were going on between everybody was so hammy and so one-dimensional and just absolutely dripping with, I know it was a 2001 movie, but it was just dripping with 90s made-for-TV cheese.
Who are you?
Laura Wheeler, it's a pleasure to meet you.
What game engine are you responsible for?
I'm just the intern. I make copies and feed the fish, clean up. Cookie?
You're a spy. You're here to steal our work.
These are all chocolate chip. You have any plain oatmeal? I'm allergic.
Careful, Bug. You don't know what you put in those.
They're cookies, not 𝗘𝗾𝗂𝗶𝗽𝗺𝗀 𝗟𝗶𝗺𝗺.
But at the same time, it had swearing, it had some pretty interesting gore and kills and so forth, as well as nudity. So, I mean, it definitely fell into the not a TV movie kind of thing, but at the same time, it kept that vibe going. It was a very enclosed set. Not a whole lot. I mean, it actually felt fairly claustrophobic, so it actually did kind of feel like we were in the middle of a sitcom or something like that, just aesthetically with, you know, how everything was designed. Not to mention all the technical aspects of the plot line and the characters and so forth were just so cheesy, overly simplified technical jargon that made absolutely no sense whatsoever. This is actually one of my Achilles heels as far as watching films. And this is often born from me being in the IT industry, being a network administrator. I mean, I've been doing computer work since I was, professionally and being paid for it since I was 16 years old. And this is one of those things where if I'm watching TV and a scene comes on with hacking in it or any kind of computer jargon whatsoever, I'll notice my wife looking at me in my periphery. I'll see her gazing at me, and there's always the same look on her face, the same look of gleeful curiosity at how much I am seething at that moment. She loves to watch me watch those scenes just to see how irate I get. I don't demand a whole lot of accuracy and factual, representation and so forth in films. I think that creative liberties can go a long way, but when it's something that is kind of your area of expertise and what you built your profession and your career on, it becomes a little bit, let's just say that I really appreciate the movies that get it right. And this was so far from that. I don't know if I've ever seen anything further from technical reality aside from an NCIS episode.
Well, isolate the node and dump them on the other side of the router.
I'm trying. It's moving too fast.
So everything about this had the odds stacked against it. We had one-dimensional characters with really hammy infighting, terrible dialogue, claustrophobic, sitcom-esque settings. Just everything was the low-hanging fruit and the lowest bar to try and just scamper over. But somehow, at the end of the day, I do think that in large part, it worked. This is really a movie where you just have to turn your brain off and embrace the cheese. Love the cheese. And if you are able to do that, I think that this will actually forcibly rip a smile across your face, whether you like it or not. And a portion of that actually does kind of come into play with the Stan Winston effects coming in. Some of the creature designs and so forth were actually pretty impressive. As long as we were taking place outside of the video game world. Once we were actually like seeing the virtual reality Lawnmower Man-esque stuff going on, oofed. Very oofed. But the actual physical effects of the monster that was taking place in the real world was actually pretty terrifying and pretty cool at the same time, so hats off on that one. As far as the character developments and story arcs and progression and growth, there's some attempts at that, but it's not the point. The point is stupid, fun cheese in a video game world that somehow comes to life and goes on a rampage. And just based on that alone, I find myself in the absolute flabbergasting position of actually recommending the 2001 movie, How to Make a Monster. I do recommend it. If this sounds like it's up your alley, if you are willing to embrace the cheese and go for some Stan Winston effects in a movie that you can turn your brain off, enjoy, and then forget about as soon as it's over, yeah, I do recommend it. I thought it was a fun movie. Not great, not good, but fun. So take that for what you will. Thank you, Jackie, for recommending this movie to me. I guarantee I would never have seen it in a million years on my own, considering I had to go out and find a DVD of it and so forth. But I'm glad that I watched it, and I'm surprised at hearing myself say that. And thank you out there for watching this video. I really do appreciate your support and your viewership. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Remember, next time you want to watch a horror movie, first make sure that it's good and rotted.